Hey everyone, August 2014, just a little talk on vacationing for a beach and photography aficionado, basically. Um, so I just got back from a vacation, again, August 2014. Went to the beach, did a lot of water sports, especially lots of swimming and snorkeling in the ocean. And I love bringing my cameras and my gear. And so I'll start off explaining what I bring tool-wise. I bring tools for just utility of things, opening packages, somewhat safety issues um, when I go to trips like this. So I've been bringing this rust-proof Spyderco knife. It's the one that looks like the Endura. I actually forget the original name, but it has the H1 steel. It might be the Pacific Salt, but I could be wrong. Has the FRN handle, basically plastic handle. And I've had this for at least 3 to 4 years now, and it's held up really good. As I always say when I talk about this knife, it's a soft steel, but it's easy to sharpen and can get very sharp, but it will lose the edge quickly. But overall, this has been a great knife. Very simple to travel with. There's no wiggle, nothing up and down, side to side. It needs to be flushed with fresh water. I got sand all over in there and clean it up a little bit, but it's just fine. Stick this obviously in your checked baggage. Okay, and then I typically bring just a standard Swiss Army knife that has a small blade, small scissors, and once again, sand everywhere, and the bottle opener, which is handy on vacations. So this one actually was the thing that got used the most, and just for other emergency repairs, mainly with the photography equipment, just a SOG, a multi-tool that's relatively lightweight, not the most heavy duty, but it just does just fine if you want a screwdriver, pliers, that kind of thing. So this got used the most. I just put them in a plastic bag like this and put them in my checked baggage, and I've never had a single problem. Always bring a first aid kit as well. Also put this in the check bags because it has some small liquids and things in it, but I like to do a lot of fairly aggressive hiking, and depending on where you go, it can be very hot. You can be hiking on very jagged and loose surfaces, so you can get injured easily. And then I like to hike and carry my swim bag, basically fins and dive mask and snorkel and all that stuff, and jump into the water where it looks safe. And sometimes you can get beaten up a little bit getting out, but so it's just, this is inexpensive. It's handy to bring. Camera gear wise, I brought my 5D with a variety of lenses. I brought the 24 to 105, which I used mostly. And I'll say that this always has great pictures, also covered in sand that I just need to do some scrubbing and cleaning on this. It always happens when I go to these spots. The disappointing thing this year was I started to have problems with this camera, unfortunately. I bought this when it came out. It's probably at the 3-year, 4-year mark now for the 5D3, and I kept getting an error 30 message, and I looked that up, and it looks like it's a shutter problem, which it was odd because I could use this. Before I left, it didn't have any errors. It's not having any errors right now. So it was really come and go. I did notice that if it's hot outdoors, it had much more likely to have problems. I don't know if that had anything to do with it at all, but I think I'm going to have to put this one in the shop next time, well, soon rather. I did try multiple lenses with it. It says pull out the battery and restart the camera. did that multiple times. So I think I'm going to have to send this one in for repair. And again, I was getting an error 30 message. I'll let you know what happens there. It's not doing it right now. It's not necessarily focusing the fastest either, though. Okay, so yeah, a little bit disappointing there. It happened early on in the vacation, so it kind of really slowed down my picture taking. You know, I tend to use my cell phone a great deal anyways, just an iPhone, and that really, it puts a lot of pressure on you. You feel like you buy this expensive gear and you feel like you need to be using it, but yet the iPhone, it takes such good photos and it's so minimal hassle and you can share them quickly, so I do use that a lot. I also love my GoPros in water and beach locations. I typically have this one. This is the version 3, not the 3 Plus. Then I have a version 2, which I got damaged a little bit this year. The casing cracked on me somehow and it leaked a little bit of water and it seems to have fried one of the batteries. I need to do some more testing. It seems after letting it dry for a day and then attaching a backup or the battery extension, it seems to come on and seems to record, but I ended up having some more seemingly some issues later on in the vacation with it, so I need to test to see if it's really working or not. But I had that available, and this is my primary GoPro. I like to use a lot of different frame rates. I usually let the video run often on 4K, which I got a lot of interesting comments about that with the 4K. When I do that, when I'm snorkeling and have this on, it's not that I'm going for the video for the most part. I turn it to 4K so I can do frame grabs and get pictures from the video rather than having a long video at 15 frames per second. I typically don't watch that or use it. I grab just single frame grabs and use them as pictures. So that's why I increase it to 4K. I do also run it at the 2K. Okay, so what I also brought with me is I switched out my snorkeling gear this year for the GoPro. So GoPro goes in the casing, of course, up top. And I'll say the memory prices on these things are going down a lot too. I got a fairly fast, medium speed 64 gigabyte card and really didn't have to change it for most of the day running it. And so I got this new pole. It's a black one. You can get off of Amazon. It's called the GoScope. Has a little bit of a hand attachment here so it won't slide off in the water, which is actually important. It doesn't seem like it is, but if you're snorkeling with this thing, you got a lot of crap in your hands, which I'm really bad about, carrying a bunch of stuff into the water, and you can lose things easily. It's good to put this around your shoulder or wrist so it won't fall away. Also need to make sure you can extend these things by kind of like a tripod, tightening them and loosening them. Make sure in any pole you have, at least I've had 2 versions of this, always tighten these as much as possible because they are prone to, you can have it fully attached to your wrist, but they're prone to falling off, and then you feel like you have it in your hand, but yet the whole GoPro is on its way to the bottom of the ocean. So luckily I found that in time. So I got this new one, and I like it much better than the one I have in an older video. It's so far more durable. It's not as long, but it also is not as crappy. It's meaning that the other one I had problems. I had the Go pole, and has a nice handle, also a wrist strap, but it quickly, on my first vacation, these plastic things corroded, and they started to fall apart before I even got home. So I had all kinds of problems with that, and it's kind of jammed, and it's missed some plastic pieces already in it. It won't even close anymore. So this one was low quality. The only advantage I thought this one had is that it had kind of a native GoPro part that you could just attach your cameras very quickly to it. Where this one, you have to get the, well, I had them available, they come with the kits, but you have to get this, I don't know, it's kind of an L piece, I guess, that comes with your GoPro kit. You slide it on there. You can detach this, of course, and then you attach the camera here. And the cool thing is you can do it on both sides. So I had my GoPro 2 on this side and the 3 on this side, and you kind of got this hammer of GoPros. And I guess one you could have out into the ocean, and the other one kind of selfie style on you, which is kind of a fun view, seeing yourself snorkel. So I recommend this one over the Go Pole. So that's the GoScope. Also, you can get it on Amazon. I'll put up a link on that as well. So that's kind of my gear I had. I have this huge backpack, healthy backpack, that I load everything up. I brought my 85.1.2 lens. It's heavy. I tend to like to take pictures of the family, and you know, if you buy this stuff, you got to use it, right? So that means dragging it along on a vacation, understanding that it's going to be heavy, and dealing with it. And the pictures turn out very nice. Lens is also heavy. The 70 to 200 L 2.8 L lens IS, and this one also has great pictures. If you're in a water situation, the ocean mainly, where waves are coming in, and you don't want to get your camera gear wet, having the extra range on the zoom lens here is very helpful. So you can be further away from your subject and not fall in the ocean. Okay, so also heavy, brought it in its own container here, put it in the backpack, and then sometimes I'll attach it with a carabiner like this, but mainly it goes inside of the backpack that I have. Finally, one more commentary on the photography issue. I had a tripod dilemma before I left. I also like to bring tripods, and it's very important that, you know, I have to check a bag anyways for these types of trips. And I wanted a tripod with me, but I didn't want to carry it on my person. So I wanted it to go in my smaller check bag. So it needs to be a portable, lightweight tripod that can go in a check bag, or worst case, a backpack if I couldn't fit it in my bag for whatever reason. So over a year ago, I bought this Dolica Pro line tripod. It had something crazy like 1,000 to 2,000 5-star reviews on Amazon, and which I should probably think more about. But anyways, I bought this thing and I used it for a year at home and around the area, and it's not a bad tripod, I'll say that. If you have a medium-sized camera, I'll say number one, the instructions say this will hold a normal DSLR and normal lenses. And I'll say that yes, it does hold them, but there's small details that don't get mentioned. One is that if you're shooting flat, I can't show you fully in the camera here, but if you're shooting in the landscape position of your camera rather than a portrait vertical, ways. Landscape is fine. It'll hold my 5D3 and any of these lenses just fine. But when you want to do a vertical, more portrait style picture, it slides down and your lens will always be off from the subject. Using the 24-105, it's okay. Using the 85, forget about it. And using, of course, the 70-200 is just a wreck. You can't use it from the side with those big lenses. And the problem is that it comes with these normal tripod attachments you put on the bottom of your camera. You can see the grip on this thing already wore right off. But you can attach them to the camera, but they don't get tight enough to not move at all. Number one, this little screw thing, you can only turn it with your fingertips basically. You can't get a lot of leverage to make it even more tight, but I got it as tight as you possibly could, and it just has no effect on the camera with the lens on it. It'll just fall right down. So that was kind of problem one. I want the ability to shoot in the portrait mode. Problem number two was, after using this thing for almost a year, parts kept falling off of it. So I had this on a vacation, and I got this mixed parts thing here. This is from another MeFoto tripod right now, and there used to be this latch that was right here that you undo it and you raise the tripod, you lock it down, and anyways, that fell right off. There was no backstop on it. It fell off, lost somewhere, so I didn't like that, and that left me scrambling before this vacation to figure out how do I lock it in. So I pulled off a part from a MeFoto tripod that I have that's much heavier, it's much larger, that won't go in a luggage and certainly won't go in a backpack very well. So this didn't actually work out. It didn't prevent the camera from sliding either. So I have a mixed review almost a year later on this tripod. It is light. It's easy to carry. If you have like a DSLR that's kind of the Canon Rebel size, the smaller size DSLR, I think you're fine with normal lenses, non-zoom lenses. It is mostly plastic, but it is lightweight. It's fairly durable. It's easy to use. So it's not the worst tripod I've ever had. I don't like it that the parts were falling off. That's really bad because that kept me from practically using it. Sand everywhere. And what I did was ordered this MeFoto tripod. Came with this bag here. And size-wise, it was very nice, very small here. This will go into the luggage very easily, or a backpack very easily. It weighs a little more than the Dolica I just showed you, but it's much more heavy duty. It is aluminum. It unfolds like this, also sand all over it now. Okay. And this is the MeFoto A1350 aluminum tripod. And I like it. It has some, you extend the tripod like this, you have to use these twisty things, which is a little bit different for me. But it's a bit slower, but it works fine. You have to get used to which direction you're turning, but it's fine. Rubberized feet, or I think you can take that off and it's metal feet as well. Also pretty cool. Again, lots of adjustments. It has an arc plate up here, which I don't have another tripod that does exactly this function, so it takes a while for me to get used to, but again, the ball roller here, instead of a latch like on the other one, you have a dial. You can lock it in place. You can lock it in place here and here. Basically, a lot of dials to stabilize it. And the cool thing about this one is that as long as you have everything attached correctly to your camera and you twist it well enough, it will stay in place with any of the lenses vertically. And that's really nice. I like that a lot. So it is a bit slower to change, but it will stay in place, and it has a nice panning mode as well. Very smooth. So this one worked out pretty good. Also, of course, it's new, right? And I judged the other one after owning it a year. But this one had high ratings on Amazon and B&H Photos. It is obviously more expensive. This was, you gotta look it up, but I think I recall is around 150 versus about 67 for the other one. So this is not, tripods can be extremely expensive. I mean, $800 or more for some of the really good ones, carbon fiber and all those things. For me, it's not worth it. But for 150, this is exactly what I was wanting, and I think I could use this in my house as well. It's heavy enough. For this size, it also was capable of holding up to 13 pounds, I believe, which is plenty for the 5D3, even for the 70 to 120. On Flickr, I posted out some pictures of a scale that has the measurements for all that stuff. So, pretty cool. That's the trip. That was the gear that I brought. I haven't posted out much yet, but on Flickr, my website that I post pictures on, you may see some examples. So a little long video, but hopefully you found that informative if you're a photography geek. Later.